Crazy old daydreams that float on down the slipstream and get caught in the ether like a deer in the high beams. While the ghosts they wander and the skeletons they ponder how to get out of this house that they have built upon your dreams. They're built upon your dreams. Now you know the rain comes down like thunder, kind you can't get out from under. It may not leave you soaking wet, but then you never really dry. How far will you travel just to watch this soul unravel? Not far, I would guess now, to leave it all behind. From a 10-ton stone that you way outgrown, and you were never meant to hold it for so long. So let it go. Back and forth you roll that stone, and it never seems to stop. Falls back down to the bottom every time you reach the top. How do you keep on going when you don't seem to be winning? You drop that weight and you don't look back. There's no need to start at the beginning with a 10-ton stone that you way outgrown, and you were never meant to hold it for so long. Let it go. Oh, the past can be unwilling and the future so unfulfilling, but the present's just like a tiny spark, and it only needs a light. So gather up all your matches and light anything that catches, till the darkness recedes and your troubles are out of sight. From a 10-ton stone that you way outgrown, and you were never meant to hold it for so long. So let it go, yeah. All you gotta do is let it go.
I love that song, and you'll see how much I love it when you see what I'm talking about today. Yeah, you know how that works out, usually, with the songs. That's why I brought my notes up here. This 10-ton stone that I've way outgrown, never meant to hold it for so long. What do I do with it? I let it go, right? That's the lyrics here. I've mentioned that with everything going on in the world, this is our eye of the storm. This is the place we come so that when we're out in the world, we can be the light. We rejuvenate, and so that we can be the light, because the world needs our light. The world needs our light. Not somebody else's light, your light. The world needs it. And so this is kind of the place. This is the place that we do that. When I start off thinking about what I'm going to talk about on Sundays, it starts on Monday morning. Because I sit in my chair on Monday morning, and I sit in my chair on Tuesday morning, and then Wednesday morning, and then by Thursday, I think I pretty much got it. But this is what happened on Monday morning. This is what I read. It's from the Pocket Pema Chodron. Yeah. How are we going to spend this brief lifetime? Are we going to strengthen our well-perfected ability to struggle against? Or are we going to train in letting go? Are we going to hold on stubbornly, or are we going to move beyond that narrow mind? Or could we start to train as a warrior, aspiring to reconnect with the natural flexibility of our being? That's what I started reading. I was like, I don't know, Paula. Letting go? Like, don't you talk about that all the time? Maybe, maybe not. I wasn't sure. But I sat and I wrote a little bit about it. And then on Tuesday, I went to see Dr. Zachariah. I see Dr. Z for energy work. I started seeing her in 2007, and I still go once a month for my tune-up. And I'm laying on she's a trained chiropractor, but she does network spinal analysis, this energy work, and releasing the tension along the spine. And I was there. She has 3 tables, massage table kind of tables in one room. And my friend Terry Downs was on the next table. And I was laying there. It's so nice in there. It's just the mantras playing, and Dr. Z's really this way. And she has Terry laying on her side. And she says to Terry, "Give me your leg." And Terry shouts out almost, "It's hard to let go." Right, like that, right? Where you have to just give her your leg so she can just do whatever she's going to do with it. And I started laughing. And like, "Terry, can I quote you on that one?" It's hard letting go. I said, "Okay, universe, yeah, maybe letting go is the thing." And then I was at the Y finishing my workout on Thursday. And my dear Susie, who is here today, says, "What's your topic? What are you talking about this Sunday?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to talk about letting go." Well, she about fell out of her chair because she had just been talking to a colleague of hers, I'm assuming, about this exact same topic, and thinking, well, maybe I need to be there. And here she is right here. So letting go it is. Letting go it is. That's what it is. So I get it. So Pema Chodron says, how about we should be trained as a warrior in letting go? We should be train ourselves to let go. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does it even mean to train ourselves to let go? We train for all sorts of things. We train ourselves to eat a certain way. We train ourselves at the Y to be a little healthier. What does it mean? We like to tell other people to let go of stuff, by the way. If they're dealing with a difficulty, well, you just need to let it go. But when that's directed at us, it doesn't feel so good, does it? We're like, oh, really? What does it really mean to let go? What does it mean? That's what I started thinking about. What is actually happening when we let go of something? And I would submit that all letting go happens in our mind. 100% of it happens in our mind. It's letting go of our thoughts, of our beliefs, of the stories we tell ourselves, of the expectations we have of others. All of letting go happens in our mind. 100% of it. Are you thinking about that? That's where it happens. Because we don't like letting go. We're afraid of letting go. We're afraid of losing control. We're thinking that someone will judge us. We're thinking if we let go of this thing that we're holding over someone else, that will make whatever that thing is okay. And dang it, we are not letting it go. We are going to hold on to it until we die. Because we're right. And when we're right, that's, that. It's hard to let go of a thought.
Just let it go.
See? Just let it go, Paula. to silent. It's the hardest thing to practice. I bet you half of you don't have your phones on silent. I bet you. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to remember that. Yeah. So it's hard to let go of a thought. There's this thing, this thought. It's just a thing, but it's hard to let go of. It's hard to let go of. Here's an example. So I was paying our house insurance with Farm Bureau. That's who has our house insurance. And I sent them 2 checks, one for home insurance and one for wind and hail or something. And I sent it directly from the bank, and I had it in there last year, so I just did it again and sent it on. Well, it turns out the one check I sent is supposed to go to the North Carolina something for wind and hail, right? Well, it went to Farm Bureau. And I'm watching in the bank account, I'm thinking, why did they cash one check and not the other? What's the deal? And every day I'm going and looking, what's the deal? What's the deal? I finally called Farm Bureau, and she said, oh yeah, we got that check. We sent it on to NCJUA. Okay. You sent it on to them, and I'm thinking, all right. She said, I'll make sure I follow it. Meantime, I'm checking it over, checking it again. That never happens. It never happens. I'm laying in bed one night. It comes bing right into my mind. The loop is playing over and over again. I'm like, oh my God, our insurance is going to be canceled. I always pay my bills on time. It's going to be late. Over and over and over. It's playing until I finally realized I wrote that check to Farm Bureau. I didn't write it to NCJUA. We need to write another check, Renee. And I got up. Oh my gosh. Worry is the refusal to let go of that kind of thought. Worry is the refusal that I had laying in bed that night or that morning, whenever it was, the refusal to let go of that thought. Can you see that? And once I caught myself and took a breath, I was able to go back to sleep. But we definitely wrote the check the next day. And even as I was writing these notes on Thursday, I checked the bank account when I was writing that down. It did not clear until Friday, but it's finally cleared. But I didn't have to wait till then, because my peace was only contingent on my refusal to let go of that thought. You see how that is? Here's some other examples. That loop in my mind that somebody doesn't like me, that I'm not good enough, that I'll never be good enough, that is all self-doubt and self-judgment is the refusal to let go of that kind of thought. All self-doubt and all self-judgment is a refusal to let go of I'm not good enough. The loop that I could have done better, that I could have made a better choice, that I could have been a better human, all regret is the refusal to let go of those sorts of thoughts. All regret, refusing to let go of those sorts of thoughts. The loop that they are responsible for my pain, that they are the ones causing my discomfort, that my life situation, all resentment and blame is the refusal to let go of that thought. The loop that I am unworthy, the loop that they are unworthy, the loop that they are undeserving, the loop that they are less than in any way, I would say all judgment is the refusal to let go of those thoughts. The loop that they should change their behavior, never have that one, do you? All desire to control is the refusal to let go of that thought. And the last, the loop that they are breaking the law, that they are getting away with it, that there is injustice, all anger, hatred, and frustration are the refusal to let go of those thoughts. So what is letting go? Letting go happens in me. The great news is it's in me. And I have complete ability to let go of any thought that I choose to let go of. And it's only my refusal to let go of it that causes me pain or suffering. But that's where letting go happens. Letting go doesn't happen outside of me at all, ever. It all happens in me, in all those ways. In all those ways. So when a negative thought gets on that loop and it plays over and over again and you can't seem to get it out of you, it's like Groundhog Day over and over again, isn't it? Over and over, there's worry, and there's self-doubt, and there's regret, and there's blame, and there's judgment, and there's desire to control, and there's anger, and hatred, and frustration. All those things. What Pema Chodron is saying, we need to train our mind, because we're letting it get away with all that. We're letting our mind carry us everywhere we don't want to be. And if the solution is to let go, then it's up to us. Because we don't have to refuse to let it go. We can drop the 10-ton stone, and it exists right inside of us. Not even on our back, in us. In our thinking, in our beliefs, in our expectations, in our stories. That's where it is. That's where it is. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about, well, what is a thought? Like, what is the life cycle of a thought? What is the life cycle? How does a thought happen? Well, usually a thought comes to us from some outside stimulus. We read something, we see something, we hear a conversation, we observe something, and we have a thought about it. Or sometimes the thought comes to us when we are completely in the stillness, and a thought comes into our mind, right? I mean, that's how a thought comes to us. And usually, when that happens, there is an emotion tied to that thought. We feel a certain way about what we see, what we hear, what we observe, what we read, what comes to us. And then, if you're not the warrior, that's exactly where the loop starts. And over again. And over again. There's no outlet for it. Over and over again. But the warrior and the mature spiritual person on that journey says, well, wait a minute here. I can be aware of that. I can be aware of what I'm thinking, and I can be aware of what I'm feeling. I can have an awareness of that, and I can pause for a minute. And this is the first step in being a warrior, is to pause in it, to not let the mind take you out on its spin wherever it wants you to go, and to be in control of your mind. That's where the control is, by the way, is right there. So that's the first thing. That's the first warrior start. And then we can realize, I don't have to hold on to this. I can actually not keep myself in this loop. I can actually let it go. I can have the experience, I can have the thought, and I can let it move through me. And when we do that, we are acting as a warrior. And then what happens after that? Then there's another thought. And then it's the same possibility. And then there's another thought. And in my case about the check, it was the same thought over and over until I finally released it, which happens to us also. That is how the thought works. That's the way a warrior works, though, because they're not taken hostage by our thoughts. I mean, why do we refuse to let a thought go? I've said already, our fear, our hesitation, somebody's going to get away with something unless we hold on to this. Has it ever worked? No. But that's the warrior, because it doesn't listen to all this. It doesn't suffocate you. It doesn't hold on to you. You can refuse to hold on to that thought. You can let it go. We have a painting that Renee bought for me for a birthday long ago, when Deborah Kavanaugh was still painting downtown. And on the painting it says, "Learning to live in the ebb and flow." That's what I'm talking about here. Learning to live in the ebb and flow. It's not like we never have a thought that is negative in us. It's not that we never have a feeling that is tension. It's that we know how to deal with them, and that's the warrior. Learning how to live in the ebb and flow. So how do you train your mind? How do you train your mind to be a warrior? You train your mind by feeding it a different diet. Because what I was doing in my example was feeding it the same diet, same diet of worry, over and over again. You feed it a different diet, and you feed it a different diet consistently. And the simplest way to do that, and it's the stuff you've heard before, but maybe stuff you don't practice, maybe stuff I don't practice, and that is through mantras, affirmations, and denials. Those things where you take charge of feeding your mind what you want to feed it and what you want the outcome to be. Right? Denial is one of the biggest things, I think, that we don't use. And that is simply saying, no, I do not accept this in my life. Whatever it is. I do not accept this tension in my life. My peace is way too important. I do not accept this in my life. And get out of there. Whatever situations are disturbing that, no. Simply no. No. That's a denial. That is saying, that is the energy of, that's not a fit, that no. I mean, what else do I have to say about no? Right? It's the same thing you want your little kids to hear from you when you want emphatically say no. You need to say more? You're just like, no. No. That's a denial. And then the affirmation, what you feed yourself after that, is the affirmation that picks you up. The mantra, whatever it is. And some would have you believe your mantra and your affirmation has to be exactly in a certain form or it's not going to work. Well, I'm calling BS on that. I'm saying whatever mantra or whatever affirmation works for you because it gives you the feeling, use that. It doesn't matter what any book told you that, if it has this word in it, then it's not any good. Listen, you decide what's good. You decide that it makes you feel differently, that you're feeding your mind something that gets out of that loop that you're in. It might be just, wait a minute here, just wait a minute. That's a mantra to me. That's an affirmation. That's something that clears the space. Wait a minute here. Let me take a breath. I think so. I like peace in me, peace in the world. It's a reminder to me. Somebody else would say, well, you got to use the I am. You got to say I am peace. Well, not for me. This works for me. What works for you? What gives you that switch in your mind to get you out of the loop? You use that. You use that. What about, I use this often, Paula, just relax. Just relax. Breathe. That. Right? I am enough. I am enough. That makes a difference to me. I am enough. You decide, because the words are just the words. The energy of whatever you use is what will be transformative. It's the energy that you use. Does that make sense to you? So my advice is, don't let somebody tell you it has to be a certain way. Use what you use to feed your mind something different to get you out of that loop and be the warrior. Be the warrior. Another thing I thought about is you train your mind by finding ways to experience joy. You train your mind by developing habits that allow you to experience more joy. Listen, all this, typically not so joyful. Stop doing it then. Train yourself some other way. What about what we feed ourselves when we watch television? Are we feeding ourselves violence? Are we feeding ourselves tension? Are we purposely watching things that make us feel bad and put us in those loops? What are you watching on TV? What do you take in your body? How much alcohol? How much sugar? How much fat? Like, what are you feeding yourself that way? What are you feeding yourself? What are you taking in? Does it bring you joy? You say, oh man, that piece of cake really brought me a lot of joy. Well, then have it. The second piece won't bring you so much joy. Right? What about the choices you make, the groups you sit with, who you show up for, how you show up? Like, what habits bring you more joy? We have a Crafter's Corner now, and folks are showing up. I got to think there's some joy there. Right? Develop the habits so that you mind experiences and train your mind to experience some joy. We don't have to wait until all this out here is settled for us to experience some joy. And also, train your mind with rest and recovery. I mean, rest and recovery. Train your mind that that's important. Sit in your meditation. Be still. Take your walk in nature. Go to your yoga class. Train yourself in rest and recovery. Train yourself in rest and recovery. You want a little inspiration when it comes down to this?
Yes.
I expected a phone to go off right then. If anybody watching the Olympics, you might have heard about Alyssa Liu, who won gold in figure skating. She's 20 years old. She's dynamite. She's dynamite. And she was the greatest expression of exactly what I was just talking about. When she was 13 years old, she won her first Olympic medal. And at 16 years old, she said, I don't want to do this anymore. She said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And so she took some time off. She walked away from it. Not because she couldn't do it, because she wanted to see what was outside of it. And so she went to school, and she hung out with her friends, and she did things away from skating before she returned, and then she returned differently with new coaches and a new way of being. All right? And at 20 years old, out on the ice, she won gold. And when an interviewer asked her, well, they found out that winning that gold medal was not really important to her. And she said, no, what was important for me was basically having the experience, having the stage on which I could bring my full self. That's what was important to me. That, because she knows who she is. She's a warrior. She's a warrior. Let me read you some other things that she said in this interview. This interview said, well, how are you able to block out all the noise? You all have that question for yourself. How are you able to block out the noise? She said, 1, I really protect my peace, truly. Are you writing that one down? She's 20. I hang out with my family and friends because they keep me grounded. I say no a lot. I say no a lot. And I don't go online too much. It's so easy to block out the noise if you don't go online. She's 20. How do you balance the hours of dedication with fun? And she said, I push to the limit and then I rest. I've gotten to know myself that way. Bazinga. I guess I should have started with this and you wouldn't have had to hear me listen to all what I said. What would you tell your younger self? She's 20. But her answer is as if she's 85. She says, I wouldn't tell myself a thing. She'll figure it out herself. And how about this one? How are you going to celebrate? How are you going to celebrate that gold medal? I've already celebrated. My life is a celebration. Did I mention she's 20? She said this about her performance. What I like to share about myself is my story, my art, my creative process. I guess messing up doesn't take away from any of that. It's still something. It's still a story. A bad story is still a story, and I think that's beautiful. There's no way to lose. You see, right here, the thinking and the belief and the story she has is supporting this. Is supporting this. It's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible that I've been struggling so long over so many years, and somebody who's 20 got it figured out at 16, 17, 18. But what a demonstration for all of us. for all of us. I refuse to hang up. She refuses to hang on to those things that are negative in her life. She refuses to go online. She says no a lot. Don't say no when I ask you something. No, that's one of the things I'm most proud about at Spiritual Soul Center is if I ask somebody to serve in a certain way and it's not the right time from them, they say no, and I'm so happy that you're able to say no. And because that's the right answer for you now. Right? Not because I think Paul is going to do that. No, it's the right answer for you now. I say no a lot, she says. I say no a lot. So letting go is simply the refusal to let go of anything negative, and I have all the power to do that. And once I begin to do that and to choose myself first, then this is the kind of life I can have. You can evolve. You can come back stronger. This person who wrote this little text about her said that, you know, she made her room for friends. She made room for life. She wasn't the good little girl anymore doing what everyone expected. She was choosing. She was choosing herself. I want you to choose yourself. I want you to choose yourself. I want to be reminded to choose myself. And what does that mean? To be in charge of my mind. To refuse to engage in those loops and that negativity that take me where I don't want to go. And to feed my mind what I want to be. I truly want my peace it's my biggest thing. And if anything's going to take away from that, the answer is no. Exactly. So let's take these ideas and this inspiration from Alyssa Liu, who is the daughter of an immigrant from Vietnam. Incredible, incredible story. I encourage you to read a little bit about her. But let's take these moments to just sit here and realize, breathing in and breathing out, that it's my choice. I choose my thoughts. I choose my beliefs. I choose my stories. I decide my expectations. I can release and let go of any one of those at any time. In the quiet times, I can get to know myself, what is important to me, and say no to everything that isn't that. I can train my mind, train as a warrior. To not let the loops continue and continue. To step in. To change course. The path of the warrior leads to freedom. Freedom to be who and what I am. So for a few minutes together, breathing in and breathing out. these two questions for you. How are you going to spend this brief lifetime? Are you going to strengthen your well-perfected ability to struggle against? Or are you going to train in letting go?